What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome to another video. It's currently 1:04 AM on Tuesday the 8th of August, and yeah, we're going to start with DXY hopefully, and I do suggest everybody go and watch yesterday's video. Price action done pretty much exactly as I expected, although I wasn't anticipating all of this action to happen on the Monday, but it did. So we're going to adjust to that, and we're going to continue to work our way through expectations. So this is the daily right now on DXY. This was Monday's trading. You can see we wicked right back one more time into that fair value gap. This is not fair value gap, sorry. I believe it's a weekly order block. Yeah. So we wicked one more time into that weekly order block. As you can see, trading to the 25% level, left it. And one thing to notice as well is we also traded into this down close wick as well. And this is what you call immediate rebalance, when price returns back to a previous wick like this. Especially considering we're bearish, I'm now anticipating this low to get taken out tomorrow. We have a high impact news event at 1:30 New York tomorrow. We have balance of trade, so I can imagine that's going to create some nice volatility in the markets. But yeah, I'm just going to mark out the PD arrays which I'm anticipating price to refer to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the 50% level of this wick, which is consequent encroachment. So I'm just going to mark that out now. But yeah, it was nice to see price do exactly as I outlined, and yeah, hopefully price will continue to serve its purpose in regards to following, a clear algorithmic structure. So let me just write, this is a daily consequent encroachment, and I usually put on the right, and I'll make it in the middle black, and we'll make the line just a little bit thicker, and I'm also going to solidify it. So we drop down to the 4 hour now. You can see I have all my previous marking outs. I explained everything I have marked out here in yesterday's video, so make sure to go check that out. So in terms of the 4 hour, we have obviously this daily consequent encroachment. Let me just drag that out to here so we can see that. And we have a swing high here. But in terms of PD arrays in the premium, which I'm anticipating, the high of Tuesday to be made, I don't really see any. So let's drop down to the 1 hour, and I believe there is a fair value gap resting there, which we can see here. Beautiful fair value gap, and another gap here. Now we also have a breaker, so there's quite a lot going on here, and I'm just going to explain everything. I'll start with the fair value gap. So I'm going to draw this out. I'd like to see the high of the day made within this fair value gap. So this is a 1 hour, well, we know it's 1 hour fair value gap, but we'll put fair value gap, FVG, and then you'll also see there's this gap here. Now I anticipate this gap to get left open. Why? Because this is what I'd consider a breakaway gap, so I anticipate this not to get touched. Price can trade up into it, so we need to allow for that. However, I do want to see that as a breakaway gap, meaning I'd prefer to see it be left open. And then we've also got a breaker here, high, low, and higher high. So the breaker block is actually between this high here and this low here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the mean threshold, because the breaker block is an order block. So the mean threshold of that is going to be the highest I'd want to see price trade to, which is 8054. And you'll see that is literally at the top of the fair value gap, which is again perfect. So I'm just going to dash that out. I'm going to get rid of these lines here, and I'm just going to write mean threshold of breaker mean threshold. So that is the highest I'd want to see price trade to, and that's where I'd anticipate the manipulation for the day to be made, and then for it to drop off and start running into these relatively equal lows here and here. We did actually sweep sell side liquidity out here, which is another reason I'd anticipate price to trade into this fair value gap, because there would be some sell side buy side liquidity residing above here and above here. So like I said, that's why I'm anticipating price to want to draw into this before running for these lows, these relatively equal lows. Let's not forget that this is a daily fair value gap, so I do want to see price trade into that, and there's this liquidity void. So, but first, let's see if we can reach into this fair value gap. I'll drop down to the 15 minute, although I don't think there's much. No, not really. yeah, that's pretty much everything to it. I'm expecting on dollar, so I'd like to see us trade into the fair value gap and then start to make our way lower for the rest of the day, taking out these lows, and we'll see if we can reach for this south side liquidity maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. Let's go now to GBP. I'll start with the daily. Now I did actually enter a trade on GBP today. I don't usually trade Mondays, but that will be out next week because like I said, I'm going on holiday tomorrow, so that video will be out next week and you'll be able to see how I traded. Now the daily's looking a bit weird. You can see there's a gap between this high and this low, which is a bit weird. Price action tends to do this. I've noticed it before, so we'll go straight to the 4 hour. And let me just get rid of my trading markings. Sorry, we'll go straight to 1 hour actually, but it was during a macro. There we go. Get rid of all this. Cool. So yeah, today, Monday, price action done pretty much exactly as I outlined. We came down into this daily inverted fair value gap. You can see we consolidated inside, upside, downside, then we broke higher again. We now have a breaker here. Why? Low, high, low, low, and then we break. So this buy side liquidity is now going to act as a breaker high. And the same way I'm anticipating DXY's trade up into that fair value gap, I want to see GBP reach down towards this breaker. But you'll see that there is already order blocks resting here and here. So and you can see this fair value gap, which is now an inverted fair value gap. The 50% level of that should act as support. So ideally I want to see us trade into this order block at the 50% level. So I'm going to mark that out for Tuesday's trading. And yeah, and that's where I'd anticipate the low of the day to get made and for us to turn around. However, like I said, because we have a breaker high here, I will allow price to go lower. If we drop down to the 15-minute, you can see how much back and forth action there is. So we'll have to see how price treats that when it gets to this level. But other than that, I do believe that everything below here should be protected in terms of price. Shouldn't need to go any lower than this swing low. And I believe that this low here is going to act as engineered liquidity for us to grab stops before moving higher and running up into that buy side liquidity and that daily fair value gap that resides above. So that's GBP, and we're just going to quickly look at Euro. Euro done exactly what I wanted as well, to the pip. Well, I say to the pip, like much more precise. Again, price. I need to stop using FOREX.com, I think, because what is this? Anyway, let's go to the 4 hour. You'll see price came down, traded right into that inverted fair value gap I called out. We didn't actually trade. Did we trade into a breaker? Yeah, we did trade into a breaker. Low, high, lower low. Then we break. So this swing here is the breaker, and you see we traded into that. This is an inverted fair value gap, and it showed support because we traded on the downside, upside, came, found support, and broke higher. So now what am I expecting? Well, if we drop down to the 1 hour, get rid of this. Similar to pound, this is our breaker here in this sense. We've got a low, a high, a low, a low, and then we've broken higher. So now this candle is going to act as the breaker, and you can see I've already drawn that out. That is this yellow box. This yellow box is that breaker. The red line is delineating the 50% level, so that will be like the lowest I'd want to see price go to before turning around and running for this buy side liquidity resting up here. I do believe it is, yeah, it's CPI for some of Europe tomorrow, so there might be quite a lot of volatility. But on the 15-minute, you can see there's some beautiful relatively equal lows resting down here. So there's reason for price to come down, grab stops, and then move higher. Classic buy model here: low, high, low, low, break, fair value gap resting here. I'll just mark that out. And yeah, so everything's looking pretty clean, to be honest. I think I'm probably gonna trade Euro tomorrow if I do get a chance. Hopefully I do. And yeah, this will be my expected low of the day, and then I'd like to see if we can run into this buy side resting here and at this level here, which is from over here. But yeah guys, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't seen yesterday's video, I highly suggest you watch it so you understand my expectations for the week as a whole. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.